father, Albert J. Early, was a mortgage banker in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They would come down to visit us and see the children. And Daddy called on Clarence Lejeune, who owned Standard Mortgage. He would have Pepper, my husband, take him over to call on Clarence. And they would do that for like 10 years. And Daddy would say, well, Clarence, are you ready to sell? And Clarence would say no. But my father was very funny, so was my husband. Over the 10 years, they grew to be friends. So one day in 1964, they went to see Clarence. And at the end, Daddy said, well, Clarence, are you ready to sell? And he said yes.
We bought the firm in 1964. And it was kind of a startup. And I kind of used to joke that I was like Vice President Dan Quayle. I didn't know what I was going to be doing. Mortgage banking is not an industry that a lot of people are familiar with. And while I grew up in a house where we talked about mortgages and home ownership, but I didn't really know the details behind what mortgage banking was. I just thought it was about getting people into homes.
It's a beautiful story. The company's been around since 1925. So they didn't really know much about the mortgage banking business, but that it had it all. It was a people business. It was relationships, connecting the people that needed the money, which were the borrowers, the individual families that were buying homes, with the money that was met, which was New York. And then the mortgage banker was the correspondent that would put the two together. And they really need each other because they come from different sides of the spectrum.
A big part of the American dream is to be able to own your own home. At Standard Mortgage, we have the opportunity to make that dream a reality for people, and you want to put them in a product that fits, and that's the origination side. Since we also service their loan, a lot of questions come up. How do I pay my taxes? How do I get a homestead exemption? And we're there to help guide them.
We have been in the industry. One of the first Ginnie Mae securities was originated by Standard Mortgage. Standard has survived through a lot of rocky times because it's a family-held company that values not only the employees, but the customers. It's a great dream to own your own home, but not everybody can technically afford a home. And then there's times in your life where you have to make decisions of, is now the time to rent or is now the time to own? And we'd like to think that we can help people make the right decision.
I have always practiced being transparent. I teach that communication is not just being heard, but it's actively listening. We become a blended family. And everybody receives the same service. So we look at everybody, all customers, as the same.
So in the last 5 years, a lot has changed. Millennials and Generation Z start to buy homes and be our mortgage customers, that there are certain technological expectations that need to be met. Keep them informed on changes that are happening specifically with their individual loan or changes that are happening in the market. Information that is pertinent to them. If a hurricane hits, we can now come to them with strong messaging instantly, which provides a better experience for the customer.
It's very rewarding to help them and to make them feel better and walk them through it. And also at the closing table, when they get their keys, that's really, really exciting. I would say that's probably the best part. And also just continuing a relationship with people. I recently had someone reach out to me on Facebook and ask me if I could do his daughter's loan, and that's a huge compliment to myself and Standard Mortgage. Look, we treat him well, so he wants to put his daughter with us.
I have been a loan officer for 4 years now, and my favorite part of my job is helping people get into the door of their first homes.
I am a loan officer, branch manager for our office here in Mandeville. We service our own loans. We have a really great product, and we have a great culture within the company.
Having two of my three children working for the same company as I have for the last 39 years has been very interesting, to say the least. Thing is, we don't necessarily work in the same departments, so we created separation between family and work as much as we possibly can. Apparently, they really were paying attention to what their dad was doing when they were growing up.
I was trying to count up how many loans I've had with them. I believe it's 8 over the course of time. I can't think of a time that the folks at Standard, whoever I was dealing with, whether it was through the process of the applications or the process of the servicing or maybe addressing interest rates, each and every time I interact with a Standard employee, it's a pleasurable experience, and they handle it with professionally and courteously, and like I said, I'm interacting with the person.
We treat the loan as if it's our own, and the borrower as if it's our own borrowing. And that, to me, is the continuation of a sense of family. They might not be related family, but we basically think of them as extended family. And so that's really cool. So it all goes back to the culture that has been created by Manny and Pepper Bright.
We've made a choice to expand out of Louisiana into Texas, into Tennessee, Mississippi. I mean, we're a Southeast independent mortgage banking servicer.
You're not a number to us, you're a person, and we're going to treat you with respect and make sure that everything works out for you.